Hello and welcome to a StudyNT Series video for international students in the Northern Territory. My name's Amy Hetherington and this episode is about public speaking. Actually, before we start, make sure that you download the worksheet. It's going to be a really useful tool to have alongside this workshop. Public speaking isn't for everybody. It's not everyone's favourite activity. I don't know how you feel about it, but there's something like 70% of the population that are more scared of public speaking than they are of anything else. We live in the Territory. It's crocodiles here. It is very, very important to find a way to be comfortable public speaking, because we use it all the time. It might be in your school and university for your assignments. It might be in a workplace at a work meeting. It might be at a conference or something when you have to speak about an area of your expertise. There's a whole bunch of areas where we use public speaking, and it's a very important skill because the better you are at public speaking, the better impression you're going to make. And those impressions lead to future opportunities in your career. So if you can make a good impression public speaking, that reputation can lead to so many great things. The advice in this video is useful whether you're presenting to 100 people or just a couple in your workplace. Everything here is designed to help you no matter, what context you're presenting in.
Fear of public speaking has its roots in social phobia, which comes from the fear of being judged, which stems from all the attention that's placed on us when we're speaking in a public place. Knowing this is important because it can help you take control of that fear. No one in the audience wants to see you fail. And to be honest, most of them are too preoccupied with their own lives to be worrying about you. So take a moment to think rationally and clearly. The threat is one you've created. It's not a real threat. So loosen that guard and you'll be okay.
So yes, it's absolutely okay if you feel a bit anxious thinking about public speaking. It's more normal than not. But what are some ways that we can reframe that fear so that you feel in control of the situation? First thing you can do is understand the fear. When we don't understand the things that make us feel uncomfortable, they become bigger in our heads than they might actually be. So spend some time understanding. Why do you feel nervous or a little bit anxious when it comes to public speaking? Where does that fear come from? What is it about that experience that makes you nervous? Because the more you can rationalize the fear and understand it, you can provide yourself with examples about why you are actually safe public speaking. So for a lot of people, they might feel uncomfortable public speaking because they're worried that they might say the wrong thing. That's okay. We are humans, we make mistakes all the time. But also, you're less likely to make a mistake or say something wrong if you do research and prepare yourself for that presentation. So instead of focusing on the fear, focus on the solution. Don't worry about that anxiety. Worry about putting your efforts into your preparation and understanding your content. You'll be less likely to make a mistake, and then the fear is less giant and more controllable. If you check out the worksheet here, there's a nice little activity about how to reframe fear. I don't know if it makes you feel better, but I've been doing stand-up comedy for about 6 years, and I don't think there's ever been a show that I haven't been nervous for. Although, let me reframe that. It's not nerves anymore, it's excitement. See, what I've done is I've worked really hard to reframe the emotion from something that could otherwise be negative, nerves, into something that could be positive, excitement. Because really, when you think about it, our bodies react to nerves or anxiety the same as they do for excitement and adrenaline. Because what happens when you're anxious? Palms might get a bit sweaty, you might have a heart rate go up, you might find it hard to concentrate, you might have butterflies, you might be a bit fidgety. What do you do when you're really excited about something? Our bodies react to nerves, anxiety, the same as they do to adrenaline and excitement. So you actually have a really beautiful space to be able to reframe things. Don't use negative words like anxious and nervous because that's going to make you feel like that's what you are. Try to use different words. I'm excited for this. I have adrenaline that's making me feel like this. This is a great opportunity. Try to look at those positive reframes because what that does is it changes your fight or flight instinct. You'll do a better job in that scary situation if you don't use the negative words. Some other things that help to reduce nerves is exercising slightly just before doing a presentation. Like, don't go out and do a full boot camp situation, but moving a little bit, doing a couple of squats or moving your body slightly will help because what that does is it pumps blood through your body better and oxygen through your body better, which means it'll get to your brain and allow you to think more clearly. The other thing that's really important to do is to breathe. Everyone needs to breathe, but the way that you breathe can really help for reducing that anxiety. If you take really thoughtful breaths and deep breaths and focus on your breathing, what you do is you allow for your heart rate to slow and to calm, but also you allow for that oxygen to get through your body. And breathing actually helps for the resonance of your voice. It makes it sound nicer. So do some breathing before, but also when you are doing your public speaking, breathe. It makes a huge difference to the confidence in your presentation. The other thing you can do is prepare your body with what you eat. The right type of nutrition can actually play a huge part in your anxieties around things. So if you're feeling anxious about doing some public speaking, maybe don't have a cup of coffee. Coffee tends to grab hold of anxiety and go blah, 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 blah. But also eating something beforehand is good. Eating is a way to make sure that you've got good blood sugar in your system. If you go and do public speaking with nerves and low blood sugar, that's when your brain can get a little bit fuzzy. So eat beforehand and drink plenty of water. Okay, so there are a few things to reduce the fear. Now I've got 6 tips on how to do a good presentation and to work on your public speaking. Seems pretty obvious, right? Know what you're saying, but more importantly, why you're saying it. Why should people care? Why is the information valuable to them? Understanding the why will give you confidence about the purpose and the reason you're doing it. Because if it's about that as opposed to about you, that reduces that sense of pressure on you. The information you're sharing or the reason for that presentation is the purpose, not you. Takes out that vulnerability, can increase your confidence, and also makes your presentation more relevant for your audience. Spend time researching your topic. The more you understand it, the more confident you'll be able to speak about it. You'll be able to think on your feet a lot better because that information is in here. Try to give yourself space and time to really understand what you're talking about. The more we understand something, the better job we're going to do. And also, the more time you spend researching something and understanding it, you're more likely to care about it. And if you care about a topic, when you speak as a presenter, you're so much more engaging for the audience.
If you present the information in a way that is authentically you, the audience will enjoy it more. Add some personal stories, add your opinion, make it human. Showing your human side can feel unnatural because it requires vulnerability, but it will connect the audience with what you're saying and they will enjoy the presentation more.
The more familiar you are with the audience and why they're there and what they care about, the more likely it is you'll do an interesting presentation. Your public speaking will be so much stronger because it is for them. Think about your audience. What have they just been through? What have they just seen? What's coming up next? Are they comfortable? Are they tired? Are they knowledgeable in the topic that you're speaking about? Do they know nothing about it? The more you understand who the audience is, the more you can craft your presentation and your public speaking to be more suitable for them. It also helps you be more likable because audiences, if they like the person that is talking and they're enjoying the topic, they're more likely to listen and to remember some of that content. Knowing the audience will also help you find the right stories to share to make your presentation more interesting. Human beings have used stories as a way to understand each other for millennia, for forever, right? Like we use stories all the time. So if you can use stories and narratives or anecdotes or ways to describe things in a more interesting story-like fashion, your audience is going to connect better with what you're saying. So understand them. What kind of story would work for them? Make it personal, make it human. That's the way to do a very good presentation. It'll also mean that when you speak with more inflections and enthusiasm and interest in your voice, because storytelling has a way of inciting imagination, curiosity, and enthusiasm. You'll hear it in your voice as well. And one thing that's really important is at the beginning of your presentation, acknowledge the audience, build rapport with them, thank them for being there. The more you can make them feel included in what you're talking about, the more likely it is that they'll enjoy it.
A lot of people worry about answering questions when they're doing public speaking. Remember, the more you research, the more you know about your topic, the better you will do at this. But also, it's okay not to know the answer straight away. Get the contact details of the person who asked the question and get back to them. People would prefer thorough, accurate knowledge than a quick answer that doesn't really help them.
If you can, try and see the space that you're going to be speaking in before the event. If you're doing some sort of public speaking presentation, whether that's at school or uni or through work or at a conference, you want to know what the space looks like and feels like before you're in there doing your presentation. The more that you can control that kind of environment, the better you're going to feel. So make sure that you get there early, check it out beforehand, test the microphone if there is one so that you feel comfortable with it. Make sure that all of the technology and things like that work, because we all know what it looks like when a presenter does a talk and their PowerPoint doesn't work. Test these things first. This is a big one, right? Body language. What your body does and what your face does, what your movement is, makes a huge difference to the understanding someone's going to get from your presentation. If we look at it in numbers, our words convey 7% of the meaning of a presentation. Our tone does 38%. And our body language is like 55% of what the audience will remember. So think about your body. 55%, you can't ignore that. Spend some time in front of a mirror seeing what your body does whenever you're talking. It feels very weird, but it's worth it. Because the more you understand how you move when you're speaking, the more you'll get a sense of the kind of energy you put off and the kind of emotion you leave for people. Here's some things that are useful for body language. First thing is to stand still and strong. Plant yourself. The stiller you are when you speak, the more people listen to the words that you're saying. Still also helps for the resonance of your voice. It carries stronger if you're standing still. Stand still and deliver that content. Remember to breathe as you speak because it helps with that resonance. And a pause might feel like a long time for you, but for the audience, it's not that long. Plus, a good pause can be used to build suspense, to make what you're about to say even more important. So use your breath, use your pauses. Helps for that calm as well. Also, stand tall and strong. If you're standing hunched or you're covered up or you're like this, your body language is showing closed and not confident. Even standing with your feet planted and your shoulders back, nice and straight like this, releases endorphins into your body that are saying you're strong and you're in control. And that'll stop that panic mode. It'll make you feel better as you present. And make eye contact. It can be a really scary thing to do if you're feeling nervous, but eye contact is huge for building rapport with your audience and showing that you're confident. Secret tip for you though, if you look at the hairline of people instead of at their eyes when they're in an audience, they actually can't tell the difference if you're making direct eye contact or close to it. So look there if you're a little bit too nervous to look directly into people's eyes. Other things you can do for your body language to make a better presenter is to use your hands as like a highlighter. If you move your hands the whole time, they kind of take away from what you're saying. But if you use them in a strategic way, you can almost highlight the most important parts of your presentation. So think about what your hands are doing during that time. Remember to smile. Smiling makes you feel better, but also it helps make everyone else feel as if you're comfortable and confident in what you're doing. And try to vary your pitch and your pace. The changes in the way that we speak help the audience feel more engaged and more interested about our topic. So you might speak a little bit faster or speak slower, yeah? You might go higher or lower. One thing that's a really interesting technique is if something's really important, speak slower and softer. Because what that does is it makes the audience listen harder. And don't be afraid to go a bit slower, yeah? Speaking slowly doesn't mean that you're not clever. It shows that you're in control of the information that you're sharing. Also, if you have an accent and you're doing a presentation in Australia, it helps to speak slower to assist with people being able to hear the words that you're saying. I think if you're speaking slow and clear and confident, people are more likely to respect the words that you say. Don't rush through it. Take your time. And the other thing that really helps for a presentation is if you're passionate and enthusiastic about it, right? The more you enjoy the topic you're talking about, the more your body language and your tone of voice are going to change to be more interesting for people. Audiences love hearing somebody who's enthusiastic and passionate about something. They want to join you in that energy. So find a way to make what you're talking about something that interests you. That might be finding a story that you can link into it to make it more interesting. That might mean doing lots of research to really understand and incite that curiosity. That will come through in the way that you speak about things. The more interested you are in the topic, the more interesting you'll be as a presenter. And it's important to remember this because when it comes to a presentation, people might not always remember what you said, but they remember like how you made them feel. So if you're enjoying that process and you're doing a good job on that topic because you're interested in it or enthusiastic about it, people will remember that and they'll associate those things in a positive way.
There are some amazing public speakers in this world. Just jump on YouTube and take a look. But also remember, you don't have to be perfect. Unless you're getting paid to do public speaking for a living, you're allowed to fumble and make mistakes. Mistakes are what make us human. So if we reduce the pressure that we put on ourselves, we're more likely to enjoy it.
And the final point when it comes to public speaking is to think about the structure of what you are talking about. There's a nice little format that you can use in public speaking that helps to deliver information concisely and in an interesting way. And that's beginning, middle, and end, like most stories, yeah? At the beginning of a presentation, you generally want to build rapport, make everyone feel comfortable with you and introduce yourself. And then you want to tell everybody what you're going to tell them. Give them the synopsis of the talk so they have an understanding about why they're there and why you're there and what the purpose of this talk is. People are more likely to listen if they know why they're there. So for example, I might start a presentation by, did you know that 1 in 3 people in the Northern Territory are volunteers? That's an insane amount of our population, and volunteering helps make the Northern Territory a better place to live. So today, I'm going to talk to you about why volunteering is important and why you should consider getting involved. See, at the beginning of that talk, I added a statistic to make it a bigger picture story, made it about the Northern Territory, made it about my audience, and told them what I was going to tell them. It's a nice way to start a presentation. And also, if you start strong, you're more likely to roll on from there with the confidence you've built from that beginning. So spend time working on the start of your presentation. The next part of a presentation is the body. That's where most of the information is. So that's where your anecdotes are, your stories, your data. A nice format to think about here is if you're going to say something, ask yourself, so what afterwards? So I might say in this volunteering example that I've been volunteering in the Northern Territory for 8 years. So what? That's helped me develop confidence and connections in my local community. So what? That helps me be a better citizen and makes me enjoy being a part of the Northern Territory even more. So what? And then the more people that do that, the better kind of experience we're going to have together in the Territory. You see how asking so what after each of my points really helps me expand on the purpose of what I'm saying? Try the same for your presentations. It'll make it more interesting for the audience. And then finally, the end of your presentation is when you wrap things up and you leave them with something that is going to be stuck in their memory, because unfortunately they won't remember everything you've said, but they'll remember the end. So end by telling them what you've told them and with a call to action. So I might say something like, so in summary, volunteering is incredibly important, not just for the community, but for yourself. And in the Northern Territory, with 1 in 3 people volunteering, it's something that everyone should get involved in. If you'd like to get involved in volunteering, head to the website. Give a good call to action at the end of your presentation. It's something for them to hang on to and to remember. If you check out the worksheet now, there's an activity there on structure for presentations. All right, mates, that's the end of this episode. One thing that's really important for public speaking is that you practice. It's like any skill, whether that's learning an instrument or riding a bike or shooting hoops in basketball, whatever it is, the more you practice, the better you get at it. Public speaking is exactly the same. Thanks for watching the StudyNT series. My name is Amy Hetherington. We'll see you on the next episode. And remember, if you need anything to support you in studying in the Northern Territory, head to the StudyNT website. Bye.